Yo, what is going on, guys? It's your boy CJ Beasley here, coach of the Philadelphia Phiones, bringing you guys my Week 2 battle of the RWL. This week, we are taking on troyboyyy, home coach of the Yeppoon Vileplumes. I believe I said that right. I hope I didn't butcher that. This last week, we had a really good battle. Chandler kind of cleaned up his team. It really put in work getting the 5 kills. So hopefully we can keep the momentum going this week. But this week we have a really tough opponent. His team consists of Tornadus T, Zero Aura, Crocodile, Klefki, Cinchino, Quagsire, Amoonguss, Sylveon, Mew, Monferno, and Megaladios. Really big threats to my team. Zero Aura I really don't have a switch into, to be honest. Crocodile is really good against my team. Quagsire is really good against my team. Amoonguss plus Tornadus with the Regenerator pivot is really good. Sylveon's really good. Like, he has a lot of big threats against my team. A Dragon Dancing Megaladios is really good. Like, almost everything he could bring is really good against my team. So I kind of had to build around that, which was really tough. But I think I got it down. So this week we're just gonna hop right into it. So this week we are bringing Namor, the Tapu Fini, with leftovers again, Misty Surge, Moonblast, Nature's Madness, Toxic, and Defog. With 244 HP, 124 defense, 4 special attack, 132 with the Calm Nature special defense, and then 4 speed. So as you might notice, that this set is pretty close to the same one as last week's. Except I replaced Moonblast with, Scald with Moonblast, and the EVs are a little bit different. We're a little bit bulkier this week in certain aspects. The main reason why is because this is also my Megaladios check. And last week it was my Megaladios check. So the reason I replaced Moonblast with Scald is it pretty much hit everything that, Scald hit everything, but Moonblast just hit more things. The only thing that really took a Moonblast better than a Scald was Klefki or Monferno. But Monferno's a Monferno. It's not going to want to take either of those. And Klefki, I can just Nature's Madness anyways if it comes in on me. So the Moonblast is just to hit pretty much everything decently hard. Nature's Madness just to cut things HPs in half. Especially that Amoonguss, the Tornadus that want to regenerate. It can't do as easily. Toxic is good for things off the ground like Megaladios and Tornadus and stuff like that. Just to get a little bit of chip going on those, just to put them on a timer. As well as if the Misty Surge ends, if I'm on the field that long, or if I can time it up, I can start toxicking other things, and he doesn't really have anything that wants to get toxic. And defog is just to get rid of hazards as well as screens, so stealth rock, spike, screens, stuff like that. This thing is my main check to Megaladios, like I said. The EVs this week can take is a 3-hit KO from a timid Thunderbolt from a Megaladios. So I thought that was pretty important. And also, I believe, if I'm remembering the calc right, it can take a Jolly Zen Headbutt. It's a 50% chance to 3-hit KO with a Jolly Zen Headbutt at +1. So I thought that was pretty important. So this thing, like I said, it's a main switch into Megaladios. It can also come in on things like Monferno, Klefki. Klefki doesn't really touch it besides sets up screens, but I can just defog those away. Quagsire doesn't want to get its health halved, and it can't really touch me besides something like Miracle, which would be unfortunate, but it's also good against Crocodile, stuff like that. So this is one of my main defensive walls. So up next, we have Dark Knight, the Gliscor, with Toxic Orb, Poison Heal, Earthquake, Knockoff Roost, Stealth Rocks, with 220 HP, 164 attack with an Adamant Nature, 4 defense, 108 special defense, and 12 speed. So the moveset is also similar for Gliscor. It's also similar to the one last week. Last week I had Earthquake U-turn Roost Stealth Rocks. This week I have Earthquake knockoff Roost Stealth Rocks. which wasn't intentional at all. It just seemed to be pretty much the optimal set this week as well as last week, closely enough. So Earthquake pretty much hits everything. Nothing really likes taking Earthquakes. Knockoff is for the things that can't be Earthquake. So like Tornadus doesn't want to get item knocked off, especially if it's something like Assault Vest, Life Orb, something like that. Megaladios doesn't want to take knockoffs. Roost is for longevity. I can roost up in the face of something like a Crocodile, in the face of a Moongus, Tornadus, stuff like that, just to get my HP back. And Stealth Rocks is really good this week, actually, because he doesn't really have very good removal at all, besides Tornadus. So I like Stealth Rocks here a lot, so I want to get those up early. So yeah, this thing is my main check to Zeraora. Like I said at the beginning, nothing really wants to switch in on this. So a Life Orb with 100 special attack, Hidden Power Ice doesn't ever one-shot from full. So I thought that was pretty necessary. So yeah, so Gliscor is really good this week. Nothing really wants to take it on, honestly, besides like a Hidden Power Ice from a Zeraora, or Megaladios might want to, but even then I can start knockoffing it and do like 30 to 40%, so it doesn't really even want to take those. So yeah, so Gliscor is really good this week. Next up, we have our Electra, our Greninja, with the Choice Scarf Torrent, because that's the one we drafted, with Hydro Pump, Dark Pulse, U-Turn, and Ice Beam, with 84 HP, 4 attack, max special attack, 4 special defense, and 164 speed. The speed allows us to outspeed a Mega Latios at +1. This is kind of like in case all goes wrong, and my Tapu Fini goes down to a +1 Mega Latios, basically, so I don't lose the game to that. So this thing can come in if it's at +1, outspeed it, hit it with a Dark Pulse, hit it with an Ice Beam, whatever. And so yeah, so the Choice Scarf is really good here. I like U-Turn for the pivot. Hydro Pump pretty much hits everything. Dark Pulse hits a lot of things as well. Like I said, U-Turn's for the pivot because I like the pivot here. And the Ice Beam is pretty much to hit the Moongus or the Tornadus late game. I really don't want to be ever clicking Ice Beam early game, unless if I'm predicting the Moongus switch in for some reason. And it's already low enough so where 2 of those can KO it after a Regenerator. But I really don't want to ever be clicking Ice Beam early game. I just pretty much want to be clicking those top 3 moves. But Ice Beam's there late game in case I get into a situation where I need to click it. So yeah, so this is really good here. This is also a good check to Zeraora, since with the Choice Scarf it outspeeds it unless the Zeraora's Choice Scarf itself. But then if it's Choice Scarfed into the Electric type move, I can go into my Gliscor, and if it's Choice Scarfed into an HP Ice, I can go into pretty much everything else on my team. Jirachi can tank those easily, Tapu Fini can, whatever. So this is a really good Zeraora check. Hydro Pump does over half to it. I believe it does about 60%, 65%. So yeah, so if I can get some chip on this takes down the Zeraora. So I like that a lot. So this week, this is going to be a really good set. Like I said, it pretty much hits everything hard. Has a nice pivot when it threatens things out. So next up, we have Angel, our Jirachi, with the Colberberry, Serene Grace, Iron Head, U-Turn, Protect, Wish, with 252 HP, 12 attack, 108 defense, 44 special defense, and 92 speed with a Jolly Nature. To be honest with you, I can't remember right this second what the speed was for. I'll have to look at that. But anyways, so Iron Head, just general coverage, hits pretty much everything. Zeraora can tank those, but it's not that big of a deal. U-Turn is for nice pivot. I'm not too fast this week, so slow pivot can be nice against things like Zeraora, Tornado, stuff like that. And then Protect Wish is this is kind of one of my Zeraora checks as well. This thing is a really big threat against my team, Zeraora, so I have a lot of checks to this, but With the Colbur Berry and with my amount of physical defense investment, I can tank knockoffs for days, and then I can also tank, I believe, Plasma Fist if it's 252 Life Orb with a Jolly Nature or Timid or Hasty or whatever it's going to be. It never two shots me, so it's always gonna be a 3-hit KO. So I can technically wall Zero Aura with this with Iron Head, Wish, and Protect. So yeah, so that's the main strategy. It's also good against Sylveon. If Sylveon is choice specs into Hyper Voice, this can always come in. And if or Moonblast or Psyshock or Psychic or whatever wants to click, this thing can pretty much always come in. If it goes for the Shadow Ball, I have my my X-Cloud, which can come in on Shadow Balls if it's choice scar or choice spec. But if it's not choice specs, then it doesn't 2-hit KO me with the Shadow Ball, so I'll know that from the damage calc. So I thought that was really good. So yeah, so Wish Protect, Wish Passing is really good this week for my team. It's not the bulkiest team in the world, but if I can Wish Pass into things like Gliscor, if it gets low and the Zeraora is still around, it's going to help me a lot. Also like Tapu Fini, since it doesn't have reliable recovery. X-Cloud, because it's kind of one of my sweepers. More of a wall breaker, but... so yeah, so I thought the set was really good this week. And next up, we have Thanos, the X-Cloud. With the choice specs, we're actually soundproof this week. Soundproof is because this is kind of my Sylveon wall. This can pretty much always come in on a Sylveon. If it wants to go for a choice specs Psyshock, I'll know the damage calc from this. Like if it's choice specs, I'll know the damage calc, and I can easily go into my Jirachi. But Boom Burst is really good. It's always going to be the general coverage move. So Boom Burst, Fire Blast, Flamethrower, and Roar. It was kind of between Taunt and Roar. But I thought if he was going for a Calm Mind, Mega Latios, or something like that, and he was trying to set up Calm Minds, and he knew the damage calc from Boom Burst when 2-hit KO him, he'd probably keep setting up Calm Minds, and so I could easily roar that thing out unexpectedly. And plus, I didn't really need any other coverage moves besides Boom Burst and Fire Blast, so I went for Flamethrower because it was 100% accurate. It doesn't do as much damage, but and then I went for the Roar just for that kind of tech. And then my investment is 228 HP, 44 defense, 220 special attack with a modest nature, 4 Spadef, and then 12 speed. This thing pretty much hits everything on his team ridiculously hard. Even a 252 careful or whatever Klefki still takes about 40% from a Boom Burst, and it doesn't have reliable recovery. So that's not even really a switch. And his best switch into a Boom Burst, honestly, is an Assault Vested Amoonguss, but that's still not even really a switch in because I can easily click Fire Blast if I predict that. So yeah, so this is kind of my wall breaker this week. It's also kind of like a late game cleaner, you could say. So yeah, so I think this set is going to put in a lot of work. It put in a lot of work during the mocks that I had, so hopefully this can put in a lot of work during the battle. And then finally, we have Deathstroke, the Mega Glade. With the Gladite, obviously, Justified, Drain Punch, Leaf Blade, Knockoff, and Bulk Up. With 52 HP, max attack, 20 defense, 4 special defense, and 180 speed with the Jolly Nature. This speed allows it to outspeed a Mew if it's timid, max speed, or Jolly, or whatever it's going to be. I didn't find it necessary to speed tie with Mega Latios, since I really don't want to stay in against a Mega Latios anyways. But if I do have a bulk up off, a knockoff will be doing a tremendous amount to Mega Latios, especially if it's chipped, it should Oko. Or if Stealth Rocks are up or whatever. So I thought that was really good. So, and my bulk investment, it's not a lot of bulk, but it's enough so where at +1, a Zeraora's Plasma Fist from a Life Orb isn't 2-hit KOing me. Then I can just Drain Punch that thing and do big damage to it. Leaf Blade is for the Quagsire, because I was going back and forth between Leaf Blade and Poison Jab, but I really don't want to be scald burned at all on this thing. Um, so I decided to go with the Leaf Blade because it always one shots a Quagsire after Stealth Rocks, even if it's 252, 252 bold. Um, so I thought that was good. Drain Punch obviously just for recovery and hits everything like a truck. Leaf Blade obviously, like I said, for the Quagsire. It also hits the Sylveon. Knockoff is good against everything. It hits the Mega Latios, the Mew, stuff like that. Nothing really wants to take a knockoff on his team, so I'm just putting it everywhere. And then Bulk Up, like I said, is just kind of a setup sweeper, but not really. It's just kind of more of an annoying threat. His best check to this thing, honestly, is his Tornadus T, which can even come in on it even during a knockoff. But I have switch-ins to that, like Tapu Fini, Gliscor comes in on that freely. Jirachi comes in on that freely, stuff like that. So it's not really even a big deal. So yeah, so anyways, guys, that's the team we're rocking. I'll see you guys in the battle. Alright, guys, so we're back with the battle. I'm just going to let you guys know beforehand that I did speed up the battle replay, as this battle is a 60-turn battle, and during the live battle, nothing died until 28 minutes in. So I decided to speed it up just for you guys to save you some time. So anyway, so we're gonna hop right into it. So we see he brings the Mew, Mega Latios, Crocodile, Tornadus T, Zero Aura, and Sylveon. This is pretty much exactly what I was expecting him to bring. Amoonguss and Mew were kind of interchangeable. So it was pretty much between one of those two, but I got the 5 out of the 6 other right. And then the Mew or the Amoonguss I couldn't really decide on because were decently good here. So here I see his team, so I just decided to leave my Scarf Greninja, just so I can kind of just get a nice pivot off. There's not really a bad matchup where I don't want to click U-turn and go out into something else. So I just decided to leave with my Scarf Greninja. So here I'm going to leave the Scarf Greninja like I said, and we will see his lead is actually going to be Mew. And so I don't really want to go for the Dark Pulse here in case he switches. So I'm just going to go for the U-turn, just get a nice pivot. Just want to get a little bit of chip. And we see that he's really physically defensive. So I just go out my Jirachi, just kind of see what he wants to do. I was expecting kind of a calm mindset, but he actually goes out for a U-turn, which is fine. He gets a crit, but it doesn't really matter. As I go he goes into the Crocodile. And here I just kind of want to scout what he's going to do. So I just go for the Protect. As we do see him go for the knockoff. So here I expected him to be Scarfed, so I just go straight out into my Mega Glade as he switches out into his Zero Aura. I don't know exactly what he was expecting to come in here, maybe my Tapu Fini. But here I'm just going to Mega up. Obviously I'm just going to stay in. Zero Aura is not too threatening. So I'm going to stay in. He's going to go for the Volt Switch. Which is fine, and he's gonna he takes leftover or Life Orb recoil, which is really good to know. And he goes out into his Tornadus, which is fine. As I go for the Drain Punch, just kind of recover a little bit. It does about 20-25%, so I was happy with that damage. So here, Jirachi is always a free switch back. So I'm just gonna go right back out into my Jirachi. Can't really touch me with anything. I have the Colbur for the knockoff as he goes for the U-turn. Which is fine because he's just going to U-turn right back out into his Mew. And so I didn't know exactly what Mew wanted to do here against me. But I'm just going to click Wish. It's pretty safe. I can recover HP if he goes for a Dark Pulse or a Shadow Ball or something. But he actually goes for the Will-O-Wisp, which is fine. It kind of cripbles my Jirachi offensively, but it's not that big of a deal. Since this was just kind of Wish Passer this week anyways. So I'm going to go for the Protect as he goes for the Will-O-Wisp. Potentially expecting me to switch out or U-turn. And so here I'm just going to go for another Wish. Just kind of seeing what he wants to go for, just kind of scouting out the set. As we see the Stealth Rocks, which is good to know. So we've seen Will-O-Wisp and Stealth Rocks so far, and U-turn. So we have 3/4 of his set down. As I'm going to go for the U-turn now, out into my Greninja, because from here, I can just U-turn right back out into my Jirachi potentially. As he's going to go for the Will-O-Wisp, which it missed, which isn't really honestly that big of a deal. It makes my U-turn do less, but everything else is especially offensive. So I'm just going to go for U-turn here as he goes out into his Sylveon. So I thought this would be a really good opportunity to get into my X-Plod, as X-Plod was really here for this. It's also a good offensive threat. And I take Stealth Rock's damage. We see he's leftover, so he's not Choice Specs, which kind of makes me scared that he's going to be bulky. So I'm just going to go for the Boom Burst. As we see, it do only about 50%, so that means he's max HP, max special defense. And we're going to see the Wish come out here, which is kind of annoying because I don't really have anything that really can take this on at this point. So he's just going to protect. I'm just going to go for a Boom Burst again. He's going to get his Wish back. And then I'm just going to click Boom Burst again. Just trying to get some chip on him, see what his other moves are. As he's just going to click Wish again. So here he recovers some of his leftovers. And here I expect him to go Protect. So I'm just going to go hard Jirachi. And so we do go hard Jirachi as he actually goes for the Moonblast here. Which isn't that big of a deal. It doesn't do that much. But he shows Moonblast, so he's ready for the soundproof X-Plod. So here he's just going to go right onto his Tornadus as I just click Wish just to get some recovery back. And here I just wanted to protect to get the free Wish back. Didn't really want to worry about anything. I could have Iron Head, but it didn't really do much to anything, so I'm just going to get the recovery as we see the knockoff, which is totally fine because I still have my Colbur Berry up, so I'll be easily able to take that as he does click the knockoff again, and we see my Colbur Berry, and then I'm just going to click Wish again. So here we take a little bit of burn, but here I can freely click Iron Head as he clicks knockoff again. Just get a little chip on this thing. It does about 20%, so it's not that big of damage, but just chip is chip. So here I'm just gonna, he's just gonna U-turn, and he's actually gonna go out into his Crocodile, which isn't that big of a deal. As we see me go for the Wish, just get a little bit more recovery, trying to stall this thing out. And so here I can freely protect, as I still expect him to be Choice Scarf. So I just want to see what he wants to lock himself into. As he goes for the Pursuit, which is totally fine. So from here, I can take a Pursuit. It doesn't really do anything, and I can just freely U-turn. As he goes hard into his Mega Lottie. So I'm going to U-turn, and then I'm going to go out into my Mega Lottie check, which happens to be my Tapu Fini. So I'm just going to go on to my Tapu Fini, and here I can freely click Nature's Madness. Nothing really wants to take a Nature's Madness as it's just going to cut everything's HP in half. It's just going to be a really annoying mon. So yeah, so I'm going to click Nature's Madness here as he goes hard into Tornadus. And it's going to obviously cut his HP in half, so he goes down to 50%. So here I expected him to have the Sludge Wave, but we haven't seen Life Orb or anything, so it's really not going to do that much. So he's going to go for the Sludge Wave as expected. I'm just going to click Nature's Madness again, which gets him down to 25%. So here I expected him to U-turn, which was totally fine. So I'm just going to go hard into my Jirachi as he does U-turn. Because Jirachi was kind of an obvious play, so I did expect him to U-turn. And it was fine. So here he's going to go into Zeraora, which is not optimal for me, as without the burn, this thing can the Jirachi can 1v1 a Zeraora decently. But with the burn, it doesn't do it as well. So he's going to click Plasma Fist. It does about 50%. And I'm just going to click Wish here. And then, so here I'm just going to protect, get my Wish back. Don't want to take any unnecessary damage. Want to keep my Jirachi around. So he's just going to click Plasma Fist again, which is totally fine. So here I can take one more Plasma Fist, and I didn't really need Jirachi for anything in this game at this point. I mean, I did, but it's not the worst if he goes down. As he does him power ice, expecting me to go hard Gliscor. But I'm actually just going to U-turn out into my Gliscor. From here, I can easily click Earthquake. He could go on to his Tornadus or his Megalotti, and I did think about that, but I didn't want to take a big hidden power ice here if he was just trying to sack this thing. So I do just go for an Earthquake, as obviously it doesn't hit the Megalotti because of the Levitate, and I get my Poison Heal back. So I'm just going to go hard back out into my Tapu Fini, as it is my check to this thing. As he does go for the Dragon Dance. Oh, I'm sorry. He's going to Mega Evolve first. We'll see that first. Okay, now he Dragon Dances. So here, I have expected him to have Roost, but I did the damage calc, and I can live a Zem Headbutt from this point easily. So he actually goes for Earthquake. So he didn't have Zen Headbutt, or he didn't want to miss it. So I can easily live in Earthquake. As I'm going to go for the Moonblast, does about 60-70%. Get some leftovers recovery. So here I'm just going to click Moonblast again, as he actually does go for the Roost. I just really want to just keep shaping this thing down because the Roost doesn't outstall me. Moonblast will always be doing more. So eventually he just has to KO my Tapu Fini. So I'm going to get a little bit more leftovers. And at this point I'm just sacking my Tapu Fini. So I let him Earthquake me, which is totally fine because I have a Scarf Greninja that I can easily go out into. And so I can freely click the U-turn. It will KO this Megalotti from this point, as he does switch out into his Sylveon, expecting a Dark-type move, I would assume. But we just U-turn. And then here we go on to Jirachi. We do get the crit off the U-turn, but it doesn't really matter. So we do go on to Jirachi. We've seen Moonblast, Wish, Protect. So I didn't know exactly what his last move would be. It could easily be Shadow Ball, but I wasn't 100% sure, so I kind of want to scout out for that. So I just click Wish. I know I can live a Shadow Ball from this point, as he's shown that he's not really fit or especially offensive. As he does show the Shadow Ball, and like I said, I can live that. Burn won't kill me from this point. So here I can just Protect, just to get my Wish back, as he does Wish himself. So here I'm just kind of doing damage calc, seeing what I can do about this, seeing what can take this on, seeing if I want to get Chip on this thing, just spam Iron Head till it dies, or what. As I'm just going to click Wish here. Half expected him to Protect, didn't really need to Protect, but he actually goes for the Moonblast, maybe expecting a U-turn, but that doesn't do much, and this gives me a perfect opportunity just to Protect. Get my Wish back, get about to 75%, as he wishes himself, which is totally fine. So here I'm just going to Wish again, as the Shadow Ball is not really doing that much to me. I mean, it's doing roughly like 40-ish%, but I can keep living it. But he does get the special defense drop, which sucks because I really can't stay in from this point. I do Iron Head, which was a misplay. I definitely should have protected, but I expected him to go for the Wish. But if he would have just Shadow Balled, it would have taken me out, which was not optimal. But I just go for the Iron Head, get a little bit of Chip. And here I expected him to Protect or Shadow Ball, either one of those two. So I just click U-turn. And after doing the calcs, I realized how specially defensive he was. And so I realized that Gliscor's Earthquake was doing over 50% to this thing every time. So I could easily 1v1 this thing, and Moonblast wasn't doing really anything. And I had the Roost and the Poison Heal. So here I U-turn out to Gliscor, and I can easily set up my rocks just to chip down his Megalotti, chip down the Tornadus every time it came in, as he really doesn't have anything that wants to defog those away unless if it's the Tornadus. So he goes for the Wish and then directly switches out into Megalotti. But I do expect that and go for the knockoff. Even if he didn't switch out, I could have knocked off the leftovers on the Sylveon, so I could truly 1v1 this thing. So he's actually going to go out to Mew. And I was fearing the Ice Beam, but he's already shown 3 moves. So if he clicked Ice Beam, if he had Ice Beam as his 4th move instead of Psychic, like, good on him. But I didn't expect him to have it. So he goes for the Will-O-Wisp, not thinking about the poison. As I do knock off, we see the Culver Berry. So here, I'm just going to knock off again to get the Tornadus potentially, or whatever wants to come in. We get rid of the Life Orb. So here, I'm just going to go hard Greninja. I did not expect him whatsoever to go for an Electric type attack, because Hidden Power Ice into a Revenge Kill was the only way he could deal with the Gliscor at this point. So I made that play, and I just U-turn out with my Greninja because I know I'll be faster than him because he's already shown Life Orb. So I'm just going to U-turn right back out on my Gliscor. And at this point, unless he V's Aqua Tail, Crocodile, he can't really 1v1, or he can't really deal with me at any level. So here he's going to go out into his Sylveon. I'm going to click Knockoff to get rid of those leftovers. So I'll be doing more to him than he can be recovering. As he does go for the Shadow Ball, which was kind of a weird play. I think he was fishing for the special defense drop, but I think Witch was always a better play there. So here I'm going to go for Earthquake, and we see it do about 55%, which is perfect. And he's going to go for the Wish. And here I expect him to go for the Protect or switch out. So I just go for the knockoff in case he wanted to go out into Tornadus. If he would have clicked Moonblast, like, good on him, but I could still 1v1 this thing easily. So I'm going to Earthquake. Again, doing about 55%, which is perfect, as he's going to Wish. And so here I'm going to do the same play, knock off. He's going to Protect again, which is perfect. And then here I'm going to obviously go for the Earthquake again. And it's going to bring him down really low. It's going to be doing another 55%. So about 1 or 2 more of this cycle is going to take him out. As he's going to go for the Wish. And he Protects here, and I actually go for the Earthquake. To show, like, hey, I'm sick of clicking knockoff on your Protects. To potentially bait him switching into Tornadus on a Wish. So I click Earthquake here. We bring him really low. Bring him about down to 1 or 2%. And so he's going to click Wish again. So I'm just going to knock off because I know the damage calculator will do enough. Even if he didn't click Protect. And he actually does go on to the Tornadus. I know this will do enough to the Tornadus. Which is perfect. We see the Salvis, which I kind of expected from the beginning. As he does go out into his Crocodile. So, like I said, unless he's Aqua Tail, he doesn't really even 1v1 me at all. And he actually goes for the Outrage, which does nothing. So here, I know he's locked into Outrage. Earthquake's doing about 60%. And I know Outrage is going to do about another 25-30%. So I'm just going to roost off that damage. I can easily do that. There's no drawback to that play. No need to kill him right now. So I'm just going to roost. And then this turn, I'm just going to Earthquake, just to pick up that KO. And he's actually going to switch out into his Sylveon, and it's going to die to the rocks, which is another kill for Gliscor, which is perfect. From here, he doesn't really have anything to hit me with. Again, this could have Ice Beam, but how he's been playing it, I don't expect it to, and he actually shows a knockoff, which is perfect. So I'm just going to click Earthquake. I know it'll KO. I know it'll KO the Crocodile. And I actually get the critical hit, which doesn't matter at all. And so at this point, I want to just say GG to my opponent. It was a really good game. It was a really long game, kind of stally, but once I realized I could get my Gliscor and he really couldn't do anything about it after the Zeraora went down and the Mega Lottie, it was kind of GG from that point. So like I said, good game to my opponent. We get the 5-0 victory. We have another Mom that gets 5 KOs in the one battle, which is crazy. But anyways, guys, thank you for watching. Subscribe, do all that fun stuff, and I will see you guys next time.